Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and I'm here today to talk to you about Black Adam. I have now finally seen this movie. It's about freaking time, because I was never going to see it in theaters because I have tinnitus. Plus, because The Rock is the main star, I ain't wasting no money on The Rock because The Rock can't act. Now, once again, I do not hate The Rock. I was a huge fan of his wrestling, but I've never been a fan of his acting. There's just always something he's missing. Like, it's like he tries hard, it's there, but there's like one tiny element that he's missing. So I told myself before, when it comes on HBO Max, I was gonna watch it, and I did. And what do I think about it? Well, it was kind of hard for me at first to get into it because of all the drama surrounding the DCEU and the whole James Gunn stuff, rebooting and everything. All the drama with The Rock in this movie, talking about how it's so successful and everything like that. Now, a week leading up to the movie being put on HBO Max, HBO Max is all like, this is the best superhero movie in years. No, it is not. The last good superhero movie I saw was Doctor Strange 2 Multiverse of Madness. And the HBO Max talking about years. So how many years are they going back? Because there have been some other good ones too, and it ain't this one. No, I'm not saying this movie is terrible. By no means, it's not terrible. My opinion of this movie is I have two different opinions. First, from the beginning of the movie until the JSA shows up, I thought the movie was just all right, and that's just it. All the awkwardness, humor, all the similarities to other movies, The Rock's stiff acting. That was very. I'm gonna get that out a little bit because I'm very shocked and surprised by that. But then once the JSA showed up and all of the action, more action started and all this other stuff, it actually became pretty cool. So I would say this is a pretty good movie. You can watch it, you can enjoy yourself, but it is outdated. This movie should have came out 15 or maybe 20 years ago, and it would have been huge at that time. This movie had no business coming out in October. It should have came out in the summer or maybe even the spring, but mostly the summer. It would have been a nice action flick, and people would have enjoyed themselves, even with all the crap that the movie has in it. So for the most part, the movie is just all right, pretty good and everything. Is it so good that I will buy it on DVD? No. All the action stuff I can just find on YouTube and watch that over and over and over again. Is it better than some of the other DCEU movies? Of course. It's better than Wonder Woman 84. It's better than Batman v Superman. It's better than the theatrical Justice League movie. But I'll tell you the truth, it's actually a little bit on par with the Justice League theatrical movie. It's about in the same boat. Great action, awkward humor, some hit and miss acting portrayals, stuff like that. But when you watch this movie, my God, it is copy and paste. Basically, they rip from every major movie they could. The ones that I've noticed is Amazing Spider-Man, Venom, the X-Men movie, like all the X-Men movies. The humor is derivative of that of the entire MCU. There was so much Disney baby humor in that, it just was crazy. Some of the humor, yeah, I'll admit, it made me laugh. But like it was just so awkward and misplaced, and it felt so Disney. Now, one comedy scene was brilliant, and they should have kept it like that. It was mature comedy, and that's when Hawkman kept telling Atom Smasher, "You and me, you and me." like that was just hilarious and everything. Now, when it came to the other comedy, it was just ripped from MCU. Now, one part that I did find funny at first was when the Rock woke up in the room and the boy was telling him like, "We need you." And he's like, "Nope, I ain't helping nobody." And he just like walked through like the wall, and as he's walking, he's hitting like the chair, like his body's touching the chair, and it's moving his uncle and stuff. That was hilarious the first time, but then they kept doing it over and over. But then when you stop and think about it, it was really stupid because it's kind of like, why didn't he just use a door? And he even said they have doors, that's what they walk through and stuff. And even he back in the old days knew what a door was, so why would he just walk through like somebody's home and everything? It was awkward, misplaced, and trying to be funny, but it was desperately trying to be funny. And his weird stiff pan like acting, it was just like even more awkward and stuff. I get it if he was doing it to be like a smug jerk, but the thing about him, he's not so much a smug jerk in this movie, so it just came out as awkward and misplaced. And so like, and don't worry, I'm gonna get to Deadpool light in this movie. But back to copying and pasting, Deadpool. What was some other movie? Oh, The Matrix. um, the Snyder Cut Justice League movie. Like, it was just like so many movies they just kept copying and pasting from. It was ridiculous and stuff. And like, that's embarrassing because they've been working on this for at least 11 years, maybe 15. And that keeps varying with the year The Rock was signed on to this movie. So anyway, between like 11 to 15 years, that's how long they've been working on this movie. And all they did was copy and paste from other movies. They wanted to be like successful, and they knew what fans liked in comic book movies. So they're like, all right, just put that in there, put this in there. Oh, they like this. All right, put that in there. But it made it awkward and inconsistent, and it made it just look like a copycat. And that was very desperate on their part. I felt like the JSA had no business being in this movie because if this movie is supposed to be called Black Adam, let it be Black Adam. If they wanted to promote Black Adam as like this anti-hero superhero, then they should do that without the JSA. It felt like a JSA movie with Black Adam just being this new recruit type person and slight villain and stuff, but he was never really truly a slight. I'll get into that whole, is he an anti-hero, is he a hero, is he a vigilante, is he a whatnot, because everybody's opinion varies on what an anti-hero should be. And so I just felt like the JSA had no business being in this movie, especially if you weren't going to have the hardcore key players of the JSA other than Hawkman and Dr. Fate. Because when it comes to Atom Smasher and Cyclone, people really don't know who they are, and watching this movie, you still don't know who they are. They should have had Stargirl, they should have had Our Man, they should have had like Wildcat, or at least Starman or something like that, but they could not use them because they are tied up in that CW show, Stargirl, which I actually very much enjoy and love that show, until they started crapping on the budget in the second and third season. But like, yeah, it would have been cool if one of them was in there, but they couldn't because the rights were tied up. But you know what's weird? I actually prefer, and this is gonna sound, this is so weird. Like, you're supposed to enjoy the movie versions of a hero better than the TV one, but I actually prefer the JSA from Smallville and Stargirl a whole lot more than I did in this movie. Only because in Stargirl, you really know who these characters are, because they're the 2.0 versions, the teen versions from the comic book. So you know who they are, and you get a good sense of the drama that they're going through. But of course, that's a TV show, so they had time to build it up. However, the Smallville one, they didn't have time to build that up. It was just a two-part episode in Absolute Justice. And you get a good sense of who these characters are and the woe is me's that they're going through, and you really feel for them and stuff. And yeah. So the JSA really had no business being in this movie, but we all know exactly why they was in this movie, because one, The Rock needed somebody to fight other than like villains. He needed other heroes to elevate him, but not outshine him. But you can tell the studio probably like, wouldn't budge. Like, look, we gotta make some of these members of the JSA cool, which they made two of them cool and two of them just there. And I bet you anything, the Rock did not want to be overshadowed by them, because you can kind of tell, because Atom Smasher is just literally just an Ant-Man Deadpool ripoff, and he didn't even show his muscles. Have you noticed that his suit was full on like a bodysuit? He didn't show his arms. If you know what Atom Smasher looks like in the comics, you know that dude's arms are massive. He's a huge bodybuilding looking kind of dude, and you know The Rock don't want to be outshadowed by that person or outshined or whatever. And so like something else I was gonna say. What else? Oh, now I remember. And another reason why the JSA is there is because of Jeff Jones. Jeff Jones need to stay out of DC Studios. He don't need to make no type of movie whatsoever. If they want to adapt his comic book, fine, but he needs to stay completely out. Every time this man dip his ugly little toes into like a project, when it's on the big screen, it either bombs, it flops, or it's mediocre. It has happened in Green Lantern, because I think he was the one who wanted to make the CGI suits. It happened in Wonder Woman 84 because he dipped his toes in that. It happened in the theatrical Zack Snyder, Josh Whedon hybrid Justice League movie. When he inserted his toes into that movie was not that good. And then Josh Whedon messed it up even more by being Josh Whedon. And now, once again, he has dipped his toes in Black Adam. And when it should have focused solely on Black Adam with nobody else, what happened? He dipped his little toes in there, and it became an okay mediocre movie and stuff. This movie is beyond outdated. It should have came out 10, 15, or 20 years ago. The narration in the beginning, so old school. What is it? The bad guy human villain turning into the generic super villain, so generic. The group of superheroes, can't get along with the anti-hero, so like old school. The slow motion stuff, even though Zack Snyder did that a lot, he didn't do it in Man of Steel that much, and he didn't do it in Batman versus Superman, or BT. What was that called? Batman v Superman, or something like that. I don't remember slow motion stuff in that movie, but he did it a lot in Justice League. But he is not one of the first people to do that. One of the first major movies that do that was The Matrix, and that's because that was like vital to their movies to make it, one, look cool because nobody's ever done it before, and two, the put emphasis on certain things. Now, all the slow motion in this movie was stupid except for two parts. One, when Cyclone first did her stuff, that was cool because you wanted to see what exactly she's doing. Therefore, it's putting the emphasis on something important. Another time was when, what was it? He was trying to stop that one dude from turning into Sabak and putting on the crown. And so we saw everything slow motion. We saw what everybody was doing. That was important. Everything else, stupid. The soundtrack is terrible for this movie. There was so much awkward music in this movie that made absolutely no sense. None of the music made any sense in this movie. All the rock and roll music, all the hip hop music, all the everything made no sense for this movie and stuff. And I do like the little twist with the whole, what is it? His son being the real Black Adam and him not. But that's come from the New 52 comics and stuff like that. And so, like, oh God, what's that dude's name? The kid in this movie, who's throughout the entire movie. Jeez, what's that kid's name? He was annoying. Nothing against the kid actor, but they just wrote him to be annoying. Amon, he was so annoying and everything. Now, technically, he's kind of like Captain Marvel. Well, he's Captain Marvel Jr. in the comics. He's part of the Black family. Black Adam, his sister, who they turned into his mother in this movie, and of course, Black Adam himself. So he's like, kind of like Black Adam Jr., kind of, you know what I'm saying? See, that's what they should have focused on. This thing should have focused on Black Adam, the stuff he did in Conduct back in the day, and the Black family. But no, they added the JSA, they added Amanda Waller, they added Superman, and they had no business doing all that. And if they was going to add anybody, they should have added Shazam, but we know The Rock wants no part of Shazam. And I'll get into that a little bit later. And so I really love Sarah Shai's character, Adriana. And I'm so glad they did not use her comic book name, because, well, there's a reason for that. Now, when it comes to Sarah, man, they disrespected her on the poster. She's so tiny with the Amon dude. And it's like, why? They was mostly in the movie and it helps revolve around them. So why were they so tiny on the see that? Ooh, that pissed me off. Because one, I'm a fan of hers. Two, that was bad advertising. And three, it was just disrespect because she's in the movie a lot. And she has a purpose in the movie a lot. And she has a purpose in the Black Adam comics a lot. And that was just disrespect. And so I remember when they was first casting Wonder Woman, I wanted her to play Wonder Woman so bad. Even though she's 5'3", I don't care. She if you ever seen her in Person of Interest, go watch season 3 of Person of Interest. You will love her. Like ooh boy, you will love her. I don't know. I don't know exactly why she put on a fake accent for this movie. She does have. I forget exactly what race she is. I don't want to say because I forgot. It might be Iranian, I think, but I think it is. She put on a fake accent, and it's not really all that believable. But I did like her acting in here, and I liked her character a lot. She's one of those strong female characters who don't have to say she's a strong female character. She shows it without saying it, you know? Okay, I don't know what part of my video I'm inserting this part in, either in the middle or somewhere towards the end. But one thing I did not appreciate with Hawkman and Dr. Fate is why weren't their origins explained? Why wasn't it ever brought up how Dr. Fate became Dr. Fate? Where's Nabu? Why there's no mention of his wife? Where is that little Dr. Fate symbol thing that he uses all the time in the comics and in the cartoons? As for Hawkman, no mention of Hawk Girl, no mention if he's an alien, no mention if he's a human with the memories of that of an alien, and where's the whole reincarnated thing, you know what I'm saying? Like, where is all that? And that's because they were underutilized because there was no point in bringing them in the movie if you weren't going to do them justice. I've been wondering, how does Teth-Adam have a perfect speaking American accent? The dude is from like the Bronze Age. Everybody else in his country, old or new, has an accent but him. Seriously, Rock. Commit, dude. So, what exactly was up with that little knockoff vibranium they had in like the movie? Because it makes Black Adam so weak he can like fall down like kryptonite. But then you would think that Sabak would, since he has the crown on that's made of that crap, you'd think it would be strong enough to like put him out of commission. But after we see it makes him weak, it doesn't really do nothing to him afterwards. So what was the point of that, like even being in the movie as a weird plot device? Now, as for the actress who plays Adriana, she was great. I really loved her character. She had this strong female vibe to her without being too impulsive. You know, she was a great mother figure, like a mother bear figure. And she was just great. I've always been a fan of that actress ever since Person of Interest. And like I said before, I wanted her to play Wonder Woman. And like, there's a reason for it. I don't care how short she is. Go to HBO Max, find Person of Interest, and watch season 3. It doesn't matter which episode you watch, you will see why exactly she knows how to play a Stone Cold B and everything. Like, she is that great. She has a solo episode, but I forget what the name of that episode is called. And now back to the JSA. I still felt like they were disrespected because, one, you don't really get a sense that they're family or even friends in this like you do in other incarnations and stuff. But there's two main problems I have with them. One, they seem to been a superhero group way before the Justice League. So with that said, no matter which cut of the Justice League you watch, where the heck were they? It falls in line with the Eternals and Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel from the MCU. I'm thinking of the one from DC because they can't use his name, they use Shazam. It falls in line with that. Like, if the world was in peril, where the heck were they? Seriously. They just let the world nearly be destroyed and everything in both versions. So adding them into the mix is really stupid and not properly adding them to the mix and everything. This is why they had no business being in there. Another reason why they had no business, it made them look like hypocritical, prejudiced bigots and everything by not helping out the people of Conduct. One of the main plots of this is that the reason why they want Black Adam to be their hero is because both the Justice Society and the Justice League don't help them out. Basically, they only help out America and like other countries and stuff, but they don't help them out, who's brown. And so they kept saying, like, where were you? You have no room to talk. We don't care if Black Adam kills people. Like, he's saving us, and y'all never did, because their country has been taken over by Intergang. And Intergang uses all this technology from like other planets and stuff, mostly Apocalypse and stuff. And it makes you wonder how in the heck, because it's weird, because it's like, okay, these Americans of different races and stuff have taken over another country, and America, the Suicide Squad, the Justice League, the Justice Society, and Amanda Waller has allowed this, and the American government, and that's just really weird. So it makes the JSA look like hypocrites and everything, and also prejudice and everything. And because it's a nice country, it's not bad or nothing like that. And it's just like, it's one of those like Middle Eastern countries that people are like, ooh, I don't like you and stuff like that. Like it is in American politics and stuff. And so it makes them look like terrible, like a terrible superhero group. And, so the JSA really had no business like just being in this movie and stuff. Now, as for the villain, my God, he was so generic. He was so generic in the sense of like a DC New 52 animated movie, which I will be talking about soon because I have to finish watching that what's his name, Constantine movie before I can talk about it. I've never watched that movie. I don't like Constantine. The only time I ever liked him was in that last DC movie, the Justice League Dark Apocalypse War, or whatever it's called. That's the only time I've ever liked that dude. And so, like, yeah, it reminds me of Justice League War when they went against Darkseid. It reminds me of Teen Titans versus Justice League when they went up against Trigon. He's just a big, giant monster who's destroying everything. Nothing to his character other than, he was related to the original king who killed Teth-Adam's, son and everything. And so, like, yeah, he was just a generic villain with nothing motivating him, really. And it was just pathetic. It was just weak. And DC don't have weak villains, so that was very shocking and everything. And let's see. The action. Man, the action was great. I love the action. The action was amazing. The CGI was great, too. Until there's only two parts of the CGI I don't like. I don't like Sabac's face. It looks weird. His body looks great, but his face looks weird. And then every fight that had to do with the air, like an aerial battle, it was weird. It looked like it came out of a really fancy Resident Evil video game and the second Matrix movie when Neo was fighting all the Smiths. There was just this awkward weirdness to like the fighting sequence and the Rock's body and the Rock's face. It just looks like it was all CGI and everything. And it's the only time it ever took me out of the fighting. I'm just like, why does it look so bizarre? But other than that, the action was great. The flying was great. The CGI was great. It was just, that part was great. But normally in the past, it would be enough to save a movie for me. Like, take Underworld Awakening, the fourth Underworld movie. Not a great movie. It has a terrible, generic plot. But there's so much good action, I bought it on DVD. In a way, why? Because everybody's acting was on point. Here, I can't do this because The Rock's acting is so bad in this movie. So let's finally get into, first I want to get into the JSA a little bit more. I just like the JSA. But so, okay. Okay. Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate. He is just Doctor Strange. He did a great job in his role. He was cool. I like how he designed his helmet and his costume, even though it was all CGI. It was motion capture. Um, but they did a great job on that suit. And so, like, my only problem with him is, like, keep your stinking helmet on your face. I ain't here to see your face. I only want to see your face if they show us what's inside the helmet and they show you arguing with Naboo and everything. No, Naboo and everything. If you're arguing with Naboo, that's the only time I want to see your face. If you have that helmet on, I don't want to see your face. I don't want to see you take it off. And he kept taking it off because why is his moneymaker? People are here to see Pierce Brosnan and not Dr. Fate. So they always want to show the actor's face. It's the same thing with the MCU when everybody takes their mask off. It pisses me off. There is only one actor I respect to a certain degree when it comes to playing a superhero role. And you know who that is? Tom Hardy. Now, Tom Hardy does something I hate. He method acts. I hate method actors so much. So I can't stand that when it comes to him. I don't know what his personality is like in real life, only because he plays so many villainous roles that he is a jerk on screen because he method acts. However, that man will always have my respect for The Dark Knight Rises because he kept his mask on 24/7. He never took it off to show people what Bane's face looks like underneath. And that is how you do it. In the MCU, they are constantly taking their helmets off, their mask off, and it gets on my nerves. And Pierce Brosnan did the exact same thing. I saw more of his face and he kept getting out of costume, and I wanted to see Dr. Fate. I love Dr. Fate. I like Dr. Fate more than I like that of Doctor Strange, just from the past stuff I've seen him in TV shows and animation. He has a very cool look. His helmet is so unique, and it's even uniquer in the movie. He only has one eye hole. Weird. I was gonna buy the Funko Pop, but that freaked me out too much. And stuff. Now, my problem with his portrayal, he was just Doctor Strange. This dude did not seem like he was frustrated being Dr. Fate. He did not seem like he was frustrated with Naboo. There's no mention of Naboo in this thing, which is very odd. And, the thing is, and this is weird, I can't believe I'm about to say this, but I actually prefer the Smallville version of Dr. Fate than I do the Pierce Brosnan version, because with that version of Dr. Fate, that man was troubled. He was pissed. He hated being Dr. Fate. He missed his wife. He thought he had a wife. He can't remember if he had a wife because he's been Dr. Fate for so long, he doesn't even remember the man he used to be. If Smallville can give you more woe is me's than the live action take, that is a problem with your movie, Rock. You don't know comic books. And Jeff Jones does, and even he didn't do nothing about that because he is spread too thin right now, and he's also a jerk in real life. Anyway, so that is my problem with the whole Dr. Fate thing. And also they killed him. I don't like that. Now there were talks that they might want to start a Dr. Fate television series and movies. Also same thing with Hawkman. Funny, they want to make spin-offs of those, but they don't want to make a so-called Black Adam 2 yet. And so now let's get into Hawkman. I like Hawkman in this, but I agree with that one YouTuber lady that he is literally just DC's version of Black Panther and King T'Challa. He is. Before he put on the Hawkman suit, everything about that dude was Black Panther, or more, I should say, T'Challa. Right down to the outfit he wore was almost identical to T'Challa's and everything. The way he stood, the way he posed, the way he put his hands, the way he walked was very regal, very royal, and very T'Challa and everything. Then he put on the suit and he became Hawkman. He was no longer a Black Panther ripoff. People are probably gonna get pissed that I said that, but it is the honest to God truth. And the lady, that YouTube lady, was right. And I noticed that in the trailer. I'm just like, huh, he is kind of acting like T'Challa a little bit, and he is. And once again, The Rock just copying and pasting from like another movie. Now, when he was when he was acting like T'Challa, I didn't like his performance at all. He voiced Green Lantern in that Green Lantern Beware My Power animated movie that sucked really bad. And so the moment he put on the Hawkman suit, man, he was amazing. He was awesome. He reminded me so much of what Hawkman should be like. He reminded me a little bit of the Smallville version of Hawkman, a very dark, gritty man who's brutal, but he wasn't brutal enough. The Smallville version, when he picked up his mace and said, "It's been a long time since I made a man bleed," oh, that told me exactly the kind of man he is. And then when he took that mace and he hit it in the back of the head of Slade Wilson, Deathstroke, boy, that told me exactly the kind of brutal man he is. He was brutal in this movie, but he should have went darker. He should have made somebody bleed. But he's at the point where he is such a seasoned hero, he doesn't make people bleed no more. He doesn't kill. So I like that nobility about him. His costume was amazing. His wings were amazing. His helmet looked like CGI. I can't get past that. But at least he kept his helmet on, unlike Pierce Brosnan and everything. So I give him a lot of respect too, just like Tom Hardy. He kept his helmet on. And so even Chris Evans got the hint in, like, what was the last Avenger movie? He kept his mask helmet on and everything, because in the past he used to always take it off. And so I loved Hawkman. I love Dr. Fate in this. And I would not mind seeing a solo project with them and stuff. As for Cyclone and Atom Smasher, who are they? She's the granddaughter of Red Tornado, the female version of Red Tornado, and he is the nephew of the original Atom Smasher. The Fonz, ayy, and everything. And so, like, Atom Smashing this was just a Ant-Man, like, Deadpool ripoff. It's not even funny. He had some hilarious moments, but he was kind of stupid. When he showed up with a bucket of chicken, that was stupid. Why was that in there? That's Disney Marvel baby humor. It was stupid, and I did not laugh at that. He got distracted. He didn't know what the big battle was. Like, the dude couldn't hear it before, but then he heard it finally. And you could tell him and Cyclone had like a little showmance thing going on, but it never materialized and stuff like that. And so, like, yeah, he was just Deadpool light, just a huge knockoff, right down to the mask, and they should be embarrassed for doing it. As for Cyclone, she just makes stuff spin around. And she's really smart. So they had to make somebody really smart. But you think Hawkman would be really smart because of all his tech. And, oh, speaking of Hawkman's tech, it was so ripped from X-Men, like, and Black Panther, like, it's not even funny, but mostly X-Men. That's not even funny. Right down to the mansion is not even funny. Now, I'm cool with him having his logo on everything. I like that with superheroes. Black to Cyclone, she's just there. She's just there, just like Atom Smasher. And so, as for Adriana and everything, she was really cool. She was really tough. I really loved her character. She should have been bigger on the poster. She should have had more. It should have been just her and Black Adam and everything. Her whole thing is that, yo, Conduct don't got no heroes and everything, and that's why I released him. But they didn't know he was a prisoner and everything. And so, like, and they all totally cool with, like, you know, Black Adam killing, because at least it gets the bad guys, like, you know, done and everything, and leave them alone and everything. But let's get into Rock and the Black Adam. Now, it is no secret, I don't like his acting. I keep saying this all the time. He can't act. But I will say this. His portrayal in the movie is not what I'm talking about. when I say he can't act, what I'm talking about is that sometimes he just acts like The Rock, and other times his acting just isn't very good. It's something off with his acting because he does not have a proper acting coach and he never went to acting school. In this movie, his acting was weird. Like it was monotone and it was stiff. It was like he was scared and he was trying too hard, but then he ended up ruining it. I've never seen him act this way in a movie, and it's very shocking. Very, very shocking. It was just terrible monotoneness and just stiffness. And he's never acted like that in the movie. I thought for sure he was gonna bring some charismatic type role to like he does with all his other projects, and he didn't. Which is weird because Black Adam is a regal, sinister, charismatic kind of person who's very smug. And he didn't bring none of that to the table. As for Black Adam's look, he is the producer. The Rock is the producer on this movie. No hair, no pointy ears, should have had them. His costume, I didn't understand why it was all black and why the symbol on the chest was fading away from the electricity and stuff. I didn't understand that because then in the end of the movie, when he nearly died and drowned and came back to, when his costume was back to the way it looks like in the comics. It had all the gold and like the boots and then the gauntlets and like the sash on like his waist, and then he had the cape. How and why did the costume change all of a sudden? That don't make no sense. Was his dark vengefulness, is that what turned it black? Probably. You have to think outside the box. So basically he's not the real Black Adam. His son was. But then his son saw him dying, so he gives his powers to him, and then his sons end up dying from like the king ruler of Kandar. And so like because of that, he went on a vengeful streak and just started killing everybody in the castle and stuff like that because he was vengeful. Because his son died. So he was always a noble man, but he just wanted revenge. The wizards didn't like that, and they trapped him. And so it's kind of like the new 52 version of Black Adam. So he comes back. Now, is he an anti-hero? Is he just a vengeful person, a vigilante, or is he a hero? He's no longer a vigilante because he already did that in the past. Oh, first, let me get into this whole mirror scene. That bugged the crap out of me when I saw it. I understand he's a man out of time and everything's different to him. Yet, the only things that are awkward to him are like a bullet, what he thinks is magic, the mirror, and a little bit of the TV. And everything else he's just totally fine with. He just accepts it for what it is. Like flying planes, he accepts that for whatever. The mirror thing was weird because I'm all like, they had to have had mirrors back in the day. I even looked this up online to make sure. They said he's from the Bronze Age. They had mirrors in the Bronze Age, even handheld mirrors. So what the world? Now, because he's from a fictional country, maybe they just was behind the times. I can give that a pass, but whatever, dude. That just bugged the crap out of me in the entire movie. But black to him being a hero, whatnot, and this, that. He's not a vigilante. Is he an anti-hero? Anti-heroes, the definition has changed depending on the hero you're with. Punisher is a hero who kills and tortures people. So therefore he is an anti-hero. He's blurred between the lines of gray. Batman is a vigilante. Superman is a hero. They say Neymar is a anti-hero in the movie he's in, because he has a noble act. He wants to help his people out, but he will kill by any means possible to ensure the safety of his people. So then what does that make Magneto? Because he does the same thing that Namor does and everything. He is technically a villain in the eyes of the X-Men people. So what is a true definition? I say it's whatever you make it is. So in my opinion, is he an anti-hero, or is he a villain, or is he a hero? I will go more on to say he is a hero who, because he from the start, he wanted to help out that woman and her child, and he kept helping them. And every time they was in danger, he kept helping them. So he is a hero, but he is a flawed hero. I don't really see him as a vigilante because he doesn't even want to be the king of his country. And the people, they cheer him on, but he could care less about them and everything. I think he's just in it for himself. He's just a man with powers. He does these heroic acts just like his son did. But it's kind of like he's willing to take a life and everything. And so when it comes to this and the whole Black Adam thing, the only people you have to blame for this movie being the way it is and mediocre and stuff like that is one, The Rock, two, Jeff Jones, and three, the people at Warner Brothers, because they knew better, but they let The Rock have his way. The Rock had no idea what he was doing. They first asked him to be Shazam back in the day. He said, no, Black Adam seems more cool. So then they were supposed to put him, I guess, like in his old solo movie or something like that, but it took a long time to make. So then they was gonna put him in Shazam. Now he produces Shazam, and Danny Garcia, I think, produces Shazam. His ex-wife, also now his manager. I truly believe they did everything they could to make the Shazam movies look the way they are, just so he could be like, look, man, Shazam is not on the level of Black Adam. We need Superman. I truly believe that's what happened. Because Shazam and his outfit and those padded muscles and everything like that, it looks so silly. But the Shazam movie was fun. I like that movie. And so, like, he was supposed to be in Shazam. He said, nope. And then he was supposed to be in Shazam 2. And he said, nope. And then there was reports that Shazam was supposed to be in Black Adam. And he said, nope. Because he doesn't want to fight Shazam. And because of how goofy and silly he is. And he just wants Superman. He wants Henry Cavill Superman. And he did everything he could to bring him back, even when the executives at Warner Bros. Said no. And he went over their heads with David Zaslav and brought him in anyways. Only for a 5-second cameo. Now, this 5-second cameo in the end credits make no sense to me. Amanda Waller does not control the Justice Society. She doesn't. And I don't even think Superman works for her. Basically, something happened toward, I don't even know how much, I don't even know like how much in time this is. Because for whatever reason, Black Adam's just there and it's all like all this dark stuff around. Apparently he did something to take somebody down. Now, Amanda Waller wants him back in the genie's bottle because, like, you know, he's too dangerous. And she doesn't want like another Shazam running around. And because of what he did in the past and because he just goes around killing folks. So that's what the whole JSA was brought in to, like, imprison him again. But then she tells him, look, man, you stay in conduct and don't you step out. You step out, we're going to take you down. And he destroys the little drone thing that projects her, like, image and stuff. And then in comes Superman. He's all like, we need to talk. Now, I don't think Superman works for Amanda Waller. I just think Superman has been seeing what Black Adam has been doing, similar to what Batman does, going around killing villains, and Superman did not like that. And so Superman got in the face of Batman and Batman v Superman. Same thing with Black Adam. And so that 5-second cameo was supposed to save Black Adam because The Rock knew Black Adam was kind of mediocre. It did not save the movie. It did not save Henry Cavill. It did not save the Snyderverse. It did not save the DCEU because now everything's getting rebooted. Oh, somebody else who can't act is James Gunn's wife. Dude, nepotism. I'm not for that. In this movie, she was just terrible and everything. And so, like, if I have to give it up and say The Rock can't act, then she can't act either. I'm just being honest. And so, like, The Rock did not give fans what they wanted, and it came to bite him in the butt. He doesn't know Black Adam. He thinks we don't know Black Adam, but we do. We wanted to see him go up against Shazam. At some point, yeah, we did want him to go up against Superman, but we wanted him to tangle with Shazam first. Black Adam is the primary villain of Captain Marvel's Shazam. Black Adam does not need his own solo movie. He does not need to be portrayed as a hero and everything, which is what he was, a sympathetic hero. And he is not supposed to be like that. But Hollywood is on this whole trend of just bringing supervillains and making them anti-heroes. And now David Glover is about to do the same thing with this. I don't know who this supervillain is, but he's giving him his own movie and he's going to star in it. It's like, this is, it's like, seriously, like, we're supposed to have heroes to look up to, not super villains and stuff. And so, because of this, I've been saying it's gonna make the heroes look bad. And the JSA came off as like villains in this movie and stuff. And even though they are the good guys and stuff. Also, The Rock did not, I believe he didn't want the pointy ears in the hair, and he needed it. That's what makes Black Adam look like Black Adam. His outfit was completely black. It's not supposed to be that. It's supposed to have gold in there and stuff. And it really, when he came out in the gold and black at the end, I'm like, yes, he looks like Black Adam and everything. Black Adam is supposed to be a man with all this power and looks at everybody else as bugs and insects and thinks of himself as a god. Now, he literally said he woke up as a god, but like he never acted like one. And even when he sat in his little throne thing at the end, he didn't want it because he feels like he's not a god amongst people. But then something changed towards the end credits of the movie. This movie should never been copied and pasted from other superhero movies. That was just pathetic and everything. There was nothing new in this movie that made people go, wow, that's different. This was no Joker. Joker surprised the crap out of me because they took the legend of from the comics and worked it in a realistic mental illness type world. And it was perfect. Like I said before, it's like an unhinged masterpiece and everything. It was different, it was fresh, and it wowed people. And this movie did not do that. And it should have done that because this movie is outdated and everything. And The Rock only has himself and his ego to blame for this. And what's so shocking is that, just like everybody keeps saying, he can't let this go. Even fans can't let this go. It's weird. Other movies have bombed and flopped before, superhero movies, but nobody has ever, like, stayed on their tail as long as they had the Black Adam movie. And The Rock is no different. The Rock can't let this movie go. And The Rock has had bombs before in the past, but he threw his entire life on this movie because the entire DCEU moving forward revolved around this movie. It bombed. It got rebooted now as a result. Warner Brothers is, well, they was broke before this, but they're even more broke now. They can't even put out movies now, except for 2 a year, and they probably can't even put out that. So they're trying to do all they can on the small screen, on like digital and stuff. And this is why so much of their shows on HBO Max and everything are getting canceled and pulled, because David Zaslav needs the money and everything. Black Adam cost too much to promote. The Rock hyped this movie up way more than what it should have been. He spoiled the whole Henry Cavill Superman cameo, and people wanted to get mad at this one YouTuber, but The Rock blew the entire ending before anybody else did and stuff. And there were people mad. There were people telling him, hey, you should sue this lady and everything. Why? He's the one who revealed Superman and Henry Cavill is back and blah 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 and stuff like that. And it's just fans who can't accept the truth, the hard truth and everything, and make excuses and everything. And it's just like, this movie is just all right. That's it. It was fun. It was enjoyable. It was weak in some moments. It was dumb in some moments. But it did nothing to change the hierarchy of power. It did not and everything. And The Rock he is ashamed. He's embarrassed. I bet you he is. I bet you The Rock is beyond pissed, embarrassed, and ashamed because everybody is jumping on him in a dog pile about how this movie was technically a failure in so many different ways. And all he wants to do is talk about how great it is, and he's moving on to the next movie project and stuff. And this really makes me question Dani Garcia. She has been producing every movie lately The Rock has been in, she has produced. And these movies are not doing well at all. And she is also the manager of The Rock and Henry Cavill. And Henry's career, that and his attitude and stuff behind the scenes, and him thinking he's better and can't do a cameo. Like, if you're pissed that Henry is no longer Superman, Henry is the only person to blame because he would not do the job and do that cameo in Shazam. And it came to bite him in the butt. I don't know what's going on with The Witcher, but he ain't in that no more. But if you want to support Henry, then go check out his Amazon Prime series that's coming out soon. And we will see if people are gun-ho for, like, Henry Cavill as they say they are and stuff. Because he should have brought tickets. But that's the weird thing. Henry Cavill, The Rock, and Pierce Brosnan should have put butts in the seats in movie theaters, and they didn't. I haven't seen Pierce Brosnan since the Bond movie, but he's been doing other projects, but they haven't been successful. He has been bombing as well. And so, what was that, Red October or something movie he did? That didn't do well. Or November. It was something it was some weird movie he was in. It was kind of like a James Bond type movie. It didn't do well. He's been bombing lately. Henry Cavill has been like miss or hit lately. The Rock has been bombing a lot and stuff. And it's just like, they needed a win, but they didn't know what the world they was doing in this movie. Alrighty, well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.